to call him such names. You can disagree with him. All right. So I'm reading this thing now just for every other person who will go in the comment section, think that it's a safe place for you to insult people. I will not condone such here. All right. On that note, I will pass the mic to Dan, and we'll come back to Roy, we'll come back to General, and we'll come back to Mr. Warford. Dan, please go ahead quickly for your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sam. I'm so sorry earlier, please. Mr. Ade, in the US, are there instances where a state law can be tried in federal courts? Please, a state law and a matter that concerns a federal agency can be tried in state courts. Is there an instance to it, please? Can you hear? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. That's not how it works. If you're being charged with, I mean, there may be exceptions, but the federal law enforcement agencies, they have to enforce federal law. The state law enforcement agencies enforce state law. There have been cases where a crime would breach both the state law and the federal law. And there's been cases where they first do a federal trial for them. In many cases, when they try the case federally, the state just drops the charges because the federal government has taken over. It's going to do time for years, and it's a waste of resources to now try him again. There are cases where they'll try him in federal, and then they'll bring him back to the states and still try the case again, even on the state level. I don't think you have an understanding of how you said you studied law in America, but I don't know.
My problem is this: is there any instance that a matter of this nature can be tried in state court? That just say, if you don't know, say you don't know.
Sorry,
sir. Ask a simple question.
Sorry, Dan.
Okay.
Sorry, Dan.
Okay.
Please let me come in here.
All
you
right.
should have allowed. Wait 1 minute.
No, I think
guys, please.
I think he has done already. He said I should.
No, he has not finished.
Trying to question and ask me who studied law and passed the bar and I've been practicing for almost 14 years. You're talking to me as if this is ridiculous. But you know what? Just I yield on this point. Oh, by the way, it was a federal case in the state of Illinois. Because it's the state of Illinois, you are confusing it as if it was state law. You don't know what you are talking about.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ade. Please, it's very important. Dan here said that he's a lawyer. Are you saying that he's not a lawyer? I don't think you're being fair. I don't know if you have any evidence to prove that he's not a lawyer. He's just here telling us he's a lawyer in America. I don't live in America. I'm not a lawyer. But when somebody said he is a lawyer, and if we're going to counter it, it would be very fair. It would be very wise of us to have an evidence. I mean, you guys lawyers, you don't like when people say something against your profession. So I think next time, let's be very mindful. Only if you have any evidence to say that he's not a lawyer. Dan, please go ahead, sir, quickly.
Yeah, thank you so much. I try my best not to attack individual and you're telling your speech. Obviously, I'm not restrained in that sense, and I'm not trained to be restrained in that sense. I come after you the way you come after me. Anyways, I never said I was trained in America. I'm a lawyer in America. I'm a lawyer in Nigeria, and I currently study in America and I'm doing a Juris Doctor program, which is the American law degree program. I'm already certified as a master's degree holder in America. Now, when somebody comes to these places and start making statements in a way that look as if you know what he's doing, it's quite a mark of intelligence to do so, right? That a lawyer will speak in this manner, first of all, to demean another person. No matter your expertise in a particular field, is to show very well. This man did not study law in America. If he says so, let him. I can put money here and now to tell us the university attended, because nobody will come out and tell you that a matter can, at sometimes, on certain instances, when the when the one of the parties is maybe live in different states. You get the point. The parties can elect in some instances to do matter in a particular place. In the case in case of Tinubu, was ingredient the issues at stake was both federal laws and the state laws, right? Both federal laws and the state laws. It's just one issue. I don't want to talk about the issue because I am very, very much abreast with it. But I don't want, Madam, I've said it already because that's not the issue right now. I don't want to like go straight to the main remit of the issue. I just want to say the way technicalities are around it. That's why I'm like, trying to like reduce myself to it, not talk about it because of where I worked and my experience in that place and all that. So, and I don't want to say it very well. So, but let me say it very clearly, sir, that a lawyer that went to school in America, that you have a master's degree, you will not even say this thing you are saying by mistake. You get the point. But unfortunately, I won't want to say so behind what they have said here. Very clearly that a matter can be tried in some instances, matter can be tried in state courts, even when the offense is federal in nature. Right? These are turbulent issues or issues that I have in American legal system. Right? So when somebody comes here and say, "Oh, you're not a lawyer," I will not even attack your person. Right? But if you say you are a lawyer, you have a Juris Doctor degree, I will give you money here and now. Can you tell us the university you got a Juris Doctor degree in America? If I want to write my bar exam in America after my master, I would have done it easily. So if you want to say you did your Juris Doctor program in America, please can you bring your money? Can you tell us where you study it and I will give you money to it? The only thing you can do is to show Mindset or you need to show me that Mindset or his co-host where the degree, the certificate of it. That's all you need to do, and I will give you money here. Thank you so much.
All right, before anybody responds, please, anything to do with betting, money, and everything, you know my stand on this, right? I don't want to get involved in anything to do with money on spaces, whether this person has been giving money to. So, but if you guys want to take that betting, you can take it to your timeline. But anything to say, give it to myself. I'm not interested in holding anybody's money. I don't want stories tomorrow. Now, Mr. Dan, you see, the thing I was trying to defend you from is the same thing that you did to him. Now, you are now saying that he's not a lawyer. Do you have any evidence to prove that he's not
That's
a
what I'm saying
lawyer?
now. If
I
you
think
don't need to give him
what?
money. You don't need to
Oh
give. You
no,
don't need to. You don't need to.
please.
I'm not giving you money.
No,
You don't
no,
say
no,
certificate. That's what you need to
no.
do. Go show you
Please
his
don't do
Juris Doctor
this
program. That's
now.
what you need to do, and I will give him money here. You don't need to give anybody money to anybody. Once you say you have
All
seen
right.
it,
I
that's
think
why I'll give you money to him.
okay.
Yes,
All right.
here, here and
Thank you
now.
very
It's very simple. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't think I'm gonna win you guys when it comes to interrupting and interjecting, but God will give me the strength to know how to handle this. And I lost my train of thought as always. But thank you very much, Mr. Dan. Roy, quickly before I pass the mic to General, so we can round up quickly.
Okay. Mindset, you see, the arguments that our co-speaker has put forward gives the impression that he didn't study law. But I cannot say that conclusively. Now, I say that because I've put a number of things on the jumbotron. One of them is the actual court docket, uh, where it lists the plaintiff as the United States of America versus funds in accounts held by First Heritage Bank in the name of Bola Tinubu. Funds, and it lists the accounts as well, held by Citibank. So First Heritage Bank, Tinubu's account, Citibank in the name of Bola Tinubu, and Compass Finance and Investment Company. Third, funds in accounts, and it lists the number of accounts held by Citibank International in the name of Tinubu. So several accounts that were opened on the same day. Tinubu was not a child when these monies were put in his account. Now, if you read the case, I think our colleagues haven't read, and if they have, then I don't know what they're saying. Towards the end of page 1, the defendant funds are located in the above described accounts and were seized pursuant to process issued by this court. And the first statement that it makes on page 2 reads, this court has venue in this matter pursuant to 28 subsection 1355 because criminal activity giving rise to this forfeiture action occurred in this district. I will not bore you with so many other things. I will now go to the definition of a civil forfeiture. In the US, federal definition, not state definition. States can define it differently. I will use one defined in Illinois. Civil forfeiture is a legal process that allows the government to seize property suspected of being connected to criminal activity, even if the owner is never charged or convicted of a crime. Yeah, even if they're not charged or convicted, because it is involved in crime, it can be seized. Why civil forfeiture? It is on the rise under federal statutes. In 2000, Congress passed the Civil Asset Forfeiture Reform Act, CAFRA, because they want to ensure that, unlike criminal forfeiture, civil forfeiture will not require a criminal conviction, but monies can be recovered from crime. I'm still reading. Last one. The government must prove by a preponderance of the evidence that that property is forfeitable, which they did in this Tinubu's case. Once property is seized, the burden of proof shifts to the owner to prove that it was not involved in crime. If they can prove that it was not involved in crime, that forfeiture will be stopped or returned. We're talking about 1994 or so till today. Please let us not insult our intelligence. Tinubu was involved in crime. He was not a child when this happened. I don't believe that example you gave. Not in the US, not in the UK. I work with lawyers. I'm not a lawyer. I cannot lie about that. But honesty is all we need. We don't need any argument apart from the truth. So please, let's rest this.
All right, thank you very much, Roy. Mr. Ade says he's a lawyer. I've not seen any. I don't have any document to say that he's not a lawyer. So as far as this platform is concerned, this evening I will address him as a lawyer. So whether he's a lawyer, if we can prove that he's not a lawyer tomorrow, then that would be a different thing, right? But he said to us that he's a lawyer. I don't have any evidence to say it. Neither is, it's like me saying that Dan is not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to argue things that I don't have any evidence to back it up. But to before General, okay, go ahead quickly so I can
Yes, let me
respond to
just
some of the
quickly
things that the
wrap up.
commented.
I just still need to respond to Mr. Ade Omojola. I'm not really questioning whether he's a lawyer or not, because that's not, it means nothing to me, because there's no information that cannot be found on the internet, especially in this age of AI. All you need to do is ask. And if you ask the right questions, you're going to get the right answers. So there's nothing like being a lawyer or somebody who knows. Nobody, just to say it, this information is not only available to lawyers. That's really all I'm getting at. Now, back to this civil forfeiture issue. He keeps saying that, Tinubu forfeited money. He did it. It doesn't mean anything. He wasn't charged for a crime. He wasn't indicted and all that stuff. Under US law, authorities don't always have to convince someone to seize assets if they can show probable cause that the assets are tied to crime. Why did Tinubu forfeit money? Tinubu was not in Nigeria when this case was running. I mean, was not in the US. Tinubu was already in Nigeria, planning to go to the Senate. He was not in the US, and he understood that if this case dragged on, it was going to be damaging to his interest in politics. He forfeited, or basically settled. Let's not, if we call it forfeiture, it sounds like a big deal. He settled. It's a settlement. He agreed to just let go, just to wrap up the case and move on. It doesn't mean he's not guilty, because the charges still insist that he committed crimes. And I don't know why he keeps saying that this is made up, this is that, there's no fact. Guy, I just pinned the court case in this space. Anybody who wants to read can go ahead. I just pinned it. You can read it more. It's also on plain sight. You can download the copy like I did, and I read it all from page to page. I read it and I even interpreted it on the timeline. So let's not just keep questioning facts here. Whether you like the way I speak or you don't, you feel like I'm saying this or I'm saying that I'm not understanding what you're saying. It does not change fact. Tinubu forfeited money. He was not in the country. His money was linked to drugs. He was investigated by the IRS, DEA, and FBI. Those three agencies don't just wake up and pick someone's name out of a hat. Nobody guessed and said, oh, you know what, today I'm going to go after Tinubu. There was a probable reason for him to be charged to court. But most importantly, it started with not paying tax. Would you pay tax for criminal money? Maybe he didn't know the law. But this money was sitting in bank account. He could not explain where they're from. The agent who actually took him to court back in the 90s is still alive. Unfortunately, maybe the guy has retired. If he wanted to still chime in on this case, he could still wake up one morning, grab a listen and talk about it. He's still alive. So let's not keep going. You saying, oh, he's not he did not do this. He's not a criminal. That I misunderstood. You came in here and you started telling us about your client, who you said was doing business. Somebody sent money into his bank account, but that's not the same case. That's just making light of the situation. That's not what happened with Tinubu. It was not a business. Somebody didn't just deposit money. This is a drug money that goes in circles. Your client might have been honest, he might have been innocent, or maybe he decided to forfeit. That is not what happened with Tinubu. I don't know why you guys trying to spin facts, especially in this age where anybody can even walk into the court and print this document. And let me just tell you though, the state of Illinois, right? It's actually a competent. It's very, very. They have all the rights to try this case. Nothing Illinois court is of competent jurisdiction. So don't come and make it seem like it's just a roadside court that is trying this case. Very, very much competent jurisdiction to try this federal case. Please go and read the facts so that when you argue, you come armed with strong facts that people can comfortably debate on. Not just saying, "Oh, he was not indicted." What if he forfeited money? It was just money that he had to let go. There was nothing there. It wasn't a crime. It could have been a no. That's not how it happened. Thank you, and I'm stepping down. Thank you, mindset.
All right, thank you. You probably only if you want to. I want to believe that Ade might want to respond or ask a question. But
Okay, I will hang
if you
around. It's
think
just
that
that it's dinner time, and I'm gonna just
oh,
move on to
okay, all right.
something else. Yeah.
I'm rounding up I'm going to round up very soon because this space has been running for over 4 hours now. But before we allow Mr. Ade to speak, I've said this before, and it looks like I'm sounding like a broken record. Please, please, please disagree with the speakers, but don't call no name callings, right? Mr. Ed, are you saying Dan is a complete fool? It's not acceptable, and I will ask you respectfully to delete it. If you choose not to delete it, I will remove you from this platform. Okay? And the other person is saying we should focus on the things that deliver good governance to Nigeria. How do we remove this kind of good? It's not my responsibility to remove Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If you want to go and remove him, go with your, find whatever you can do to remove him. What this platform is a place we educate ourselves, we learn from one another. So don't tell us what we should be discussing, right? If it's not something you want to hear, respectfully, you can go somewhere else and listen to you. There's a lot of new things that I'm learning. I mean, from my day, from General and the other Dan and Roy. So it's not a place for you to tell us what you think we should be discussing. All right. Ade, quickly, please, sir, because it's actually, it's morning right now. So I just have to quickly run this up and go to bed. Ade, if you want to respond quickly, sir, you have a minute or two.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that you allow a difference of opinion on this stage. So respect to you for that. Just to clarify some things, it's a pity that every time I speak, they come and they state things that are not factually correct, and I have to return to clarify again. First of all, I never said that the person I gave the example of was a client. I said I was consulted on the matter, and it's analogous. It's an analogy. Of course, it's not the same case. Why would you even say that? It's an analogy, right? People put money in your account. You didn't know that they were involved in criminal activities, and here you are facing a civil forfeiture for some of the funds. Very similar to what Tinubu went through with regards to the civil forfeiture in Chicago. Hey, look, you asked me, I didn't even say anything about being a lawyer, right? Mindset, you asked me if I'm a lawyer, I said yes. That's where it stops. I don't need to prove anything to anybody, right? So Dantala can believe whatever he wants to believe. What I said was that it is clear to me that Dantala is not a lawyer in the United States based on the questions he's asking. Because if you are trained here in the United States as a lawyer, I went to law school here, you wouldn't be asking whether uh, criminal prosecutions can happen in federal court over state law. There's a federal law, and each state has their own state law. The federal prosecutors don't have jurisdiction to try a crime on state law. The authority is different, but you don't know that. Anyway, look. So I'm actually correct. He came back and said he's not a lawyer in the United States, which was evident from the kind of things he was saying. But anyway, look, it's for future. Roy, I don't think you realize that you actually agreed with me when you were speaking. You said that rule for forfeiture can be brought forth regardless of whether the person is charged or convicted of a crime, which is what happened with Tinubu. They used the civil forfeiture statute, which is federal law, right, to to attempt to seize the funds in his account, regardless of the fact that he wasn't charged or convicted of a crime. This is why I said when this whole first broke, I went into PESA. PESA is the database for federal cases, looking for the information. I could not find any criminal cases against him. And I said to obedient to people that carry this narrative around, I dare you to show me the criminal documents that he was charged in the court of law. You can't. So when you say that a true official can be brought forth, whether or not the person was charged or convicted of a crime, you are correct. You are agreeing with me, but you don't realize it. That is exactly what happened in this case. They traced funds from his associates to his account, and they said the money in his accounts are from illegal funds. Whether or not he knew that these guys got the money from illegal funds, that's between him and God and those guys. But he stood his ground and said, okay, fine, some of the money belongs to them, take that. The rest is not theirs, you cannot have it. And the case was settled. It wasn't even like the courts had to do a trial or it was ruled upon. They settled do you know that the FBI has a 90% victory rate? When they bring a case against you, you are probably not going to win that case. They rarely lose cases. So the fact that they charged everybody around him, everybody with cases, and they never charged him with one single crime. What does that tell you? The only connection was the funds in his account, and they said keep the part that came from the bad guys. The rest is mine or my associates. And they said the case, and that's what the story ended. You now try to spin into he's a drug kingpin, he's a drug lord, and I was saying these tactics they failed you in 2023, they will continue to fail you again. You can return to spin whatever you want to spin, but I'm going to stop there. Thanks. I yield for now.
All right, thank you very much, Dan. Sorry, not Dan. I hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, you are.
Hello. All right, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Ade and Roy and every other person. For me, I'm not a lawyer, right? So I like to go with what the law says. In 2014, like I mentioned earlier on, the former CJN, who was a Supreme Court justice then, ruled on a case that forfeiture means crime. And we can dribble this thing up and down and throw it, wherever. That's my own position here, right? Since we've all agreed that money was forfeited by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the Supreme Court of Nigeria ruled that forfeiture means crime, he has committed a crime. That's in my own book, right? I'm not the one that I didn't, I'm not, in 2014, I wasn't the one that wrote the judgment. It was CJN, the former CJN, Ariwola, that wrote that judgment. But in 2023, they felt that that's not what it is. Okay? There's nothing I can do about it than to learn from people who on the platform this evening or this morning. You guys have educated us. We have learned a lot. And I must say thank you to each and every one of you who has contributed. Now, somebody asked a question, and I'm going to respond to that question. I have a question for Mr. Ade, but I don't think we are going to continue with that conversation tonight or this morning. We'll continue it maybe some other time, sometime next week. Non-binary said, mindset is sure that the election was rigged. I am also sure that Nigeria is in North Africa, since individual conviction is not gospel. I mean, Mr. Non-binary, it depends how you want to look at it, right? The election of 2023 was rigged. Even if you don't want to believe me, I believe you're old enough to know what transpired in Rivers State. Let's forget about every other state. You saw what happened in Rivers State. You see, this is one of the things that, for me personally, the late Yaradua is one person that, I mean, nature took its course, but we can't really ask why that happened. He was honest enough to admit that in 2007, the election that brought him was not, a credible election. He said it, not me, because Maurice Iwu then performed magic. Every one of you know the story, right? You might be a member of APC, you might be somebody that supports Tinubu, but if you can look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself the truth, that what happened in Rivers State was not rigging, then I have nothing else to tell you but to say, okay, good luck to you. So, guys, we'll continue again sometime next week.
Sorry, man.
And sorry, who is that? Who might that be?
His wife.
So, what is it regarding, sir?
Okay, so it's just, I'll be very brief. I just want to wrap up on my final thought to people.
Oh, but you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that, right? Because I don't know why you people like to do this. When somebody's speaking and they are flowing and you interjected, and I lost my train of thought again. All right, I was gonna read out some of the things on the comment section, but Mr. Owifo, you have the mic, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mindset. I just want to apologize firstly for interjecting. But one thing I want to quickly put out is that, this is a back and front argument, and of course, in the court of law, even in a case where has to do with a murder case, maybe somebody murdered somebody physically and it was evidence that he murdered somebody, there is going to be a lawyer to defend that person who murdered the person. So for people, you like you rightly said, let's respect everybody's opinion and then speak to the matter at hand. And then, of course, Ade Omojua's position, I understand that position. You can also defend the criminal and then have instances to want to, prove. And from his argument, I can also see that, he has some points and had been regurgitating those points and coming over and over again, and there are no evidences. He has not proven anything, not posted anything on Jumbotron for us to go and verify what he is alluding to. And he also made a reference to say that he had somebody who consulted him for the same similar crime. So